Bondone Hill Climb is presented in partnership with Viper Gaming by Patreon, Elite Gaming, ESTV, and Motorvision.tv.
A 1v2 for the tournament. Pressure is on.
Racing for Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for New Forest. Racing for Green.
Trento, Bondone in Italy, as we have only 5 rounds, including this one, remaining in our championship, getting towards the business end, and some championships could even be decided here tonight, so it's very much worth tuning in. Thanks very much to everybody who's here so far. It's good to have you along for another round of this hill climb championship. It's not just any old hill climb. Tonight we've only got 2 heats because the scale of this climb is just absolutely humongous. At the moment the best time is only just under 9 minutes, which is a good at least 3 times as long as most of the hill climbs we've had so far. We're in Trento in Italy, which is a city situated towards the north, very close to Lake Garda, one of the main lakes up towards the north of Italy. And it's an incredibly mountainous region around here. You can go up and downhill pretty much anywhere from here out of Trento. It's either uphill or nothing really. Really is in a valley. So we do have a huge climb for us here today. 17.3 kilometres in length, which is more than 3 times the length of a normal hill climb. Gaining 1,350 metres along the way is a huge amount. It's bigger than any climb you can do in England. and in the UK, that's for sure, and definitely Denmark as well, I'll add. Finishing at 1,640 metres above sea level, which is a very, very long way, especially considering they're starting around 300, so it's a very big climb. Average gradient of 8.8%, which is the steepest we've had so far by quite a margin in this championship, and it also means that it is exceptionally steep. In case you're not really brushed up on what that really means, it just means that it's very, very steep indeed, and you wouldn't want to be going up on it without an engine, that's for sure, of some description, because it would be quite painful otherwise. Luckily these guys have, but it will be taking a strain on them. Fortunately, they haven't got very many straights for them to really feel the effects of excuse me, of the lack of power that they're going to be experiencing today, or relative lack that they'll have, because it is basically entirely hairpins, as we've seen in the opening footage so far. A lot of handbrake being used, a lot of drifting, sliding around the hairpins, but not a lot of time spent flat out at all. There's a lot of time to make the difference, a lot of corners to make the difference here on the Monte Bondone, which is called as a mountain. Trento Bondone, the name of the hill climb, which has been running and used since 1925 when it was first used. And it took the winner nearly 22 minutes to get up, which I think is quite impressive actually for 1925, but there we are. That's pre-World War II day engineering going on there. Yeah, it's the longest active hill climb in Europe at the moment, which suggests to me that there's one longer somewhere out in the world elsewhere, which I would like to see, but there we are. That's for another day. It is the European Hill Climb Championship after all, and the normal stats really, the Osella and the Norm are very well matched for wins on this climb. The Osella with 6 and the Norma with 5, as we've got the first of presumably many incidents that we're going to see here tonight. However, the stakes won't quite be as costly as they are normally, especially in the events where we take 3 out of 3. For a start, there's only 2 heats here tonight because some of the drivers are going to be taking over 12 minutes to scale this one. But not both of the lap times count, it is only one, so the best time will win. It's like a qualifying session in a road race, really. But we're in qualifying for the hill climb right now. Fastest driver will go off first in the running order. Slowest will go up last. And excuse me. The good thing about one of these, as we've seen so many times, is that we kind of get 4 moments of excitement when we figure out who is going to be the winner of the event. Let's go through, well, we've still got over 20 minutes to go here in qualifying. Let's go through the drivers' standings, starting with the teams, still being led by Equipe Regal by 23 points. In front of Thunder Team, GSR Team are in 3rd, but those 4 teams at the front are definitely scoring points still, as opposed to the others who really aren't. 23 points is the margin at the front, so one to be watching out for, particularly with like Sebastian Renau and Eric Tatol, who are on the Equipe Regal team, and Philotheus Arguru and John Spider, who are on the Thunder team in this one. Looking to see Eric Tatol is here on this occasion. John Spider, I think, is alone without Arguru in the Audi here today, which is going to be a problem for him, but either way they've got their own championships to focus on, and first of which is the E2 SCS S 3000 category, being led by Sebastian Renat right now. 117 points in front of Mark Best, with only 125 on the table. He is very close to being crowned champion. So, Mark Best needs to gain 19 points on him today, and I don't think that's going to happen. Chris Bennett looking, he is confirmed as champion for the class in which he is on his own. This is the most interesting category for the championship though. Tobias Bashadorf is leading E1 plus 2000 ahead of Antonis Paranopoulos and Agios Andrei. 27 points separate the top two there, and 30 points cover the top three. That is a championship very much up for grabs, and looking at the early times, Paranopoulos could really take it to the German here today. Let's wait and see if he can do it. John Spider is leading Group H. He's in front of Vincent Tucola and Philip Raab, who are very close, well, not very close in attendance, but they are close to each other at least. There's about 77 points between those two at the top at the moment, so it can be crowned tonight if John Spider wins and Tucola doesn't score any points at all. Javi Rodriguez is leading Nick Koksakidis as well in E1 2000. He is more than double the points of everybody else with an 87-point lead. If he can gain 13 points on the Greek driver today, then he will be champion tonight. So 3 of the 4 remaining categories can be decided on the Trento Bondone. Rounds to go after this one, and it's not the last time we'll be visiting Italy here in 2021. But first we've got the Saint-Orzan in Switzerland. Then in Slovenia we've got the Urska Bistrica on the 8th of November. And in Croatia, the Buzetski Dani on the 22nd of November, and the Coppa Paolino Teodori is going to round off our season after it was delayed earlier on in the year. So it's going to run a good 3 months later than it was going to, but it's now going to be our championship finale in Southern Europe. So what do those drivers who can crown the championship tonight need to actually do here as we go for a bit of a roll with one of the Group H cars? I think that's Calvet maybe. Ludovic Calvet it was indeed in the Opel GT Psycho. And here it is again. A striking livery, but striking the barriers, not what he wanted. And going for a roll on that one, I'm afraid. The group E1 plus 2000 is going to be our main focus probably for the rest of the year, really, given the championship situation. I think it's going to be very, very close. With only 5 rounds to go, Bashadorf will only lose 35 points to Paranopoulos even if he wins all of the races. He's got a 27-point lead, so it would be close, but winning all 5 races in a row is going to be very difficult for him, so that's going to be an interesting category. So Sebastian Ronat is leading this qualifying session by 45 seconds actually, ahead of Paranopoulos. As into the barriers, another one of the Group H cars. Yeah, Sebastian Ronat just basically, with a 117-point lead, just needs to not lose 18 points to mark best. And considering it's only Francois Corratti on the grid right now, or he's already out of championship contention, looking like he may well be crowned in the next 20 minutes or so. It was like crowning the inevitable, really, but certainly deserves his championship this year. In Group H, we've been looking at some of those guys for the last few moments. John Spider's got a 77-point lead. So if he wins and Vincent Tucola doesn't score any points, then he will be champion. However, then again, I think earlier I saw Philip Raab here. If Philip Raab turns up, then it will be a little bit more complicated as well. But if Mark Spider doesn't win, if John Spider doesn't win today, then he's not going to be crowned champion, whatever happens. And with an 87-point lead, Javi Rodriguez has also got a chance. He's got to come third or better at least. He wants a chance. But if he wins, then things get a little bit more difficult. Then Koksekidis needs to be on the podium. I think Tashev might need to be second. And I don't think that would even be enough. So Rodriguez has got the chance to put Tashev out of it by winning. Maybe. We'll work it out as we go along. But for the moment, I haven't seen Rodriguez enter the server just yet. Although, no, at the moment it's Ivan Moro, Pedro Alvarez and Yosu Barroso, excuse me, who's the only guys of their category actually in there, so yeah, there we are. Might not be appearing here today. Having a look at the weather here. That's the Dubinsky Kopek, which is not the Trento Bondone. On this occasion, we got weather radar for the wrong. There we are. We're getting ahead of the game with the crowd coming up later on. As you can see, not a cloud in the sky at the moment. Not a drop in the air of rain. And it just gives you an idea, a little bit of the kind of geography of the place, being right up towards the north of Italy. The sun actually trying to poke through the trees. It's quite a populated mountain, which is kind of rare for Italian climbs like this, but there we are. So even though there are hairpins everywhere, they can get up to some kind of speed. At least. So it's a very, very narrow road here, really. And there are walls and cliffs either side, so I'll be glad that they get another chance if the first run goes wrong. At the moment, by the way, the championship leader, second place in qualifying right now, looking to actually go a little bit better than Paranopoulos. Wonder if we can go on board with him just for a moment. I don't know if he's improving. Excuse me. I don't know if he's improving or not, but it could well be telling to see a little bit later on where he's going to be. Stop-start kind of stuff. Normally I would try and describe the climb in certain parts, do it at home to really give you an idea of what it's like, but there's not much to say other than it's hairpins everywhere, especially through the middle and towards the end. It actually gets worse. If you think it's bad at the start, then it gets worse, but fortunately they get a little bit more regular in the way that they form themselves. So there's less of these kinks down the straights towards the middle. It's kind of just hairpin, straight, hairpin, and then straight again. But when you get towards the top, that does change a little bit. Again, you do get some slightly more strange corners. we are deep into the heart of the Italian Alps here, effectively. I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is still the Alps. The Dolomites go off just to the east of the Italian Alps, and there's no real clear way of defining when the Dolomites start and the Alps stop. But anyway, we're deep into the mountainous area of Italy as we go on board with Bashadov. He's right towards the top right now, I think. Just starting to see the ski stations and resorts up here. Skiing very popular. Towards the boarding section and over the line, there he goes. Is that any better than Paranopoulos? No, but it is better than what he managed to produce earlier on in this session. You just see a bit of interaction between a couple of these cars at the moment. It's not often, well, not supposed to happen anyway, but I have a feeling it might today because of the length of the event. Oh my word, 3 cars now all involved. This is not ideal. Let's hope this doesn't happen in the real runs, as one of the Group H cars goes a little bit wide, allowing this one through just a little bit. We go a little bit further back to Agies Andre, who's a latecomer to the server, but he is here now, and we'll be looking to make some inroads into the championship lead of Tobias Bashadov. Yeah, as I was about to say before we had that little onboard a few minutes ago, that it's a very well connected part of the world, even though we are very much up towards the north in the Alps. I think that these regions will be neglected a little bit, really. There's plenty of stuff around, plenty of big cities like Trento, and just up the road you've got Bolzano or Bolzan as they go up north, where Italian and German are spoken side by side. And of course, if you go just a bit further up towards the north on the very same road, you can find yourself in Innsbruck in Austria in not too long at all. There's some very good roads around here, despite the difficulty of the terrain, and it means that a lot happens up here, really. Of skiing World Cup events here every year. In the winter, of course, when there's snow around. We've already seen the ski resorts right at the top. There's a few more problems for those trying to get towards the top. Yeah, there's many ski resorts and so on. Very popular with cyclists in the summertime as well. And of course the hill climb events which happen and have happened for nearly a century now around here. It's a very busy part of the world, and if you ever turn up to Trento, then there's more than likely something going on. It's almost the opposite to the Pyrenees and what we saw with in France, like we saw it for the opening round of our championship, where there's not much around at all, and yeah, if you get stuck, then you really are stuck, as opposed to around here, a big town or city never too far away, as we see Pascalis Angelopoulos just into the barriers there. Placed in the E1 plus 2000 category, and so yeah, none of the front runners are really out. None of the top 10 are out there at the moment. John Spider's waiting for to go out. We'll go a little bit further back down the order on the E1 2000 cars. Bruce Barroso, I believe, making his first appearance in the European Hill Climb Championship this season. The Trento, much like Pedro Alvarez, who is also using the same. But at the moment, Barroso is just 5 seconds adrift of Alvarez, and 13 seconds behind the leader of the class. I think coming towards the top now, but Barroso. You see it gets, there's a few more those red and white barriers around towards the top for whatever reason. Certainly towards the start of the season we didn't see very much guardrail at all that would be hampering these guys. It was just a cliff face and then a cliff that you can fall off, really, but it's not really been the case towards the latter half of the season. There's been some very attritional events, but this is not going to be one of them, you'd imagine, despite its length. If you finish the second run, if you at least finish one of the runs, get to the line once, then you'll be classified as a finisher. Is coming a little bit thicker and faster at this particular point. You see what I mean about the middle section being very linear in the way that it's kind of designed almost. And then it's once again towards the top, these kinks start to go into it. Certainly going to be a difficult day on these engines as they try and pull their way up the hill. A very steep hill indeed, so difficult for everybody as we go on board with the Norma of Francois Corratti to get an idea of the speed. But his helmet's in the way some of the time. You can't really see what's going on if he's going to the left, but there we are. Scarily quick, but not really a climb where the E2 cars really get to show their worth here. Difficult for them to use the downforce that they have when all the corners are so slow speed. So as we come towards the end of qualifying, let's see who's out there and where they are. 6 or 7 cars at the moment out there. I'm not sure if they're allowed to, but nobody seems to be queuing up, so they're not allowed to start a lap, but even so, I think Andre is good 8 minutes from the line here, 7 minutes from the line. I'm pretty sure they're allowed to finish their runs at very least, so probably be seeing that in the next few moments when Andre makes it there. So we need to 3,000. Bastien Monat is going to be going first and indeed of the field. He has got 53 seconds over Francois Corratti, who's not even second overall. Goes to Antonis Paranopoulos, who has nearly 3 seconds over Tobias Bashadov. It really could be the Greek driver's day. Agius Andre is third, just ahead of George Mallis, who's not too far back. In Group H, we could see Andras Rossival doing his worth. He's 7 seconds clear of the field right now. His first event last time out was very successful. The Hungarian driver nearly took a whole event off of John Spider. The experienced 4-time event winner this season was able to take it though and extend his championship lead to a point where it's probably not going to come back. Rossival is certainly out of the equation. We've also got a new driver in second place. Vitko Christoph is in second right now in an Open Cadet UTE. And then it's John Spider. Eric Tuttle is kind of involved as well. In Group E1 2000, it's Ivan Muro, 8 seconds in front of Pedro Alvarez, then Josu Barroso. That is how they'll be going up the climb here this evening. And there are 21 of those guys who, maybe 22. Some guys just join in a little bit late, having not qualified, deciding to just go out last anyway. I think that's the best way to do things. Well, maybe it's not quite the end of qualifying. Maybe some of these guys can still start lap times here, because I've just seen Angelopoulos look towards. Oh no, maybe he's not. And that is Nikos Sagnias beginning a lap time for Group H, in Group H. So yeah, there we are. Maybe a while yet before Heat 1, which is coming up. And we'll see if anybody just goes for a banker lap time just to get one on the board and then goes hell for leather at the end, or which way around they're going to play it. So we look at some of the incidents from qualifying, the trials and tribulations that people have gone through. Agius Andre in third place at the moment. They're pushing on this lap right now. Possibly trying to get in front of Francois Corratti in the order, but he needs 3 seconds to do that. So it will be difficult. But seemingly just getting this iron, quite a late comer to qualifying really. So he's not had many goes at this. He only joined as we came on air really in the final half an hour. but it's an important day for him. He can't really afford, with only 4 rounds to go after this, to let Tobias Bashadov get too much further up in front of him. Oh my goodness, we've got a fire up towards the top of this one. Not sure how that's happened, or why. Oh, there it goes. So you better put the handbrake on quickly or you'll be making a quick trip back towards Trento, down at the bottom. That's Andros Roosevelt. Maybe that's how he's going so quickly. Pushing the engine to the very limit. As Agius Andrei stops his lap because it was going nowhere. Isu Lagaretta is going to be completing his lap. And I don't believe anybody else will be allowed to begin. So we'll see where Lagaretta gets to in qualifying. Doesn't matter too much, but it's just to do with the running order, really. And in which places are these guys going to be going out in? Some very tight corners, and you've got to get it right if you even want to make it around. This turning circle is not really built for this. The handbrake will be needed, but it's not being used by Lagaretta really. It is a skill after all, and if you aren't very experienced at this kind of climb, then it's going to hold you back. Number of the turns, because of the steepness, also doesn't help. Really getting up towards the top now as it gets a bit more populated, bizarrely. Up towards a town called Vasson. Well, not a town, is it? It's a small village, mountain village, but there we are. Into the barriers right at the very end. This very final section seems to be very difficult indeed. There's a final chicane here, and there's the line for Lagaretta. And he's going to get up to 10th in Group H, 20th overall. So that is it for qualifying. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and on the other side, the first proper runs up the Trento Bondone will commence.
The 2021 virtual Trento Bondone Hill Climb is presented in partnership with Viper Gaming by Patriot, Elite Gaming, ESTV, and Motorvision.tv.
Racing for Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon-neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for New Forest. Racing for Green.
A 1v2 for the tournament. Pressure is on.
Welcome back to the biggest hill climb here that we'll have in 2021. It's the round 9 of the European Hill Climb Championship, broadcasted by GTR 24H. And we're about to get underway for the first runs of this climb. You can see everybody's getting ready right now. The order is being set. And unfortunately, Sebastian Renau has just exited the session for the last couple of moments. I don't think that was intentional, but he has done, and that might hold us up for a second or two. Only 4 rounds to go after this one in the championship, though. Visit Switzerland, Slovenia, Croatia, and back to Italy again before the final. Or at least before we finish, I guess. For 2021. Not sure if we're going to be waiting for Renat or not, but there we are. We'll see in the next few moments. But even so, he probably will still be able to. Well, he probably is crowned champion right now. Unless there's a very late entry from Mark West or something, because he's got a commanding position in this championship that is going to be near impossible to topple at this point. That's the race director's car just getting itself ready. Just to update you as well, because we have the next round of this Hill Climb Championship in 2 weeks' time at Saint-Lausanne in Switzerland. It kicks off the start of a very busy week for us here in GTR 24H. We've got the Hill Climb on the Monday night. We've got a 24 Hours of Le Mans preview show coming up on the Tuesday night, and then the first practice sessions get underway for the EWC's final round on the Wednesday, and continue on to Thursday and Friday, where qualifying begins as well. And then we have the race on Saturday, moving into Sunday. So a very, very busy week with something happening every day here on GTR 24H. So make sure you join us for it. It's going to be very, very busy indeed. Sebastian Renat is back in the server, by the way, so we should be good to go in a couple of moments. We should see him making his way to the start line. And I think when he does pull off and begin, for the first minute or two, I'll be quiet and let you enjoy the noise of that car reverberating around the Italian mountainside. Because not only is the sound of the engine in isolation great, but the echo and the effect of that is wonderful as well. So I'll let you enjoy that when we indeed get there, but although we're not quite there. As the race director's car just positioning itself. And readying everybody for the beginning of this. Here he is, Sebastian Renat, our new champion in the European New Car Championship for 2021. Let's enjoy him going up the Trento Bondone. Sebastian Renat's on board. Francois Corratti gets underway in the top right hand side of your screen. Two of the E2 3000 cars simultaneously making their way up the mountain. They've actually halted the E1 plus 2000 cars so that these guys can go off first. Such a small difference between the two categories in terms of time difference of a climb, it shouldn't be too much of a problem, but let's hope not anyway, because there's a big championship fight coming up there we'll be seeing in a few hours' time. We're normally mesmerised and absolutely on the edge of our seats really watching these cars make their way up these climbs, and we definitely will be in a couple of weeks' time with Saint Lausanne with how quick that climb is, but this one is a lot more technical and it's much more of a driver's climb. Well, some won't like it due to the stop-start nature, but it's not as visually impressive as some of the others where the high-speed corners have really left us speechless. it is still impressive to admire these guys at work, because certainly better than most of us at this. And Sebastian ran out on a bit of a victory lap, I guess you might say, having clinched the championship here tonight. And I guess there's still a chance for somebody to come in here and get some points, but it's unlikely, and with Sebastian ran out winning anyway, it wouldn't matter. To mention, one of the more populated hill climbs that we've had. Some of them there's been quite a lot of people around and so on, but this is 1,600 metres above sea level, and it's still very, very filled with people. And I don't mind a mountain in Italy, it's safe to say. Actually, all over, you could have a Italian hill climb championship quite comfortably, actually, taking in hundreds of climbs. We've got mountains the length of this up towards the north, and even longer really. And they've also got plenty of hills the normal length towards the middle, in the Apennines, I think they're called, in towards the middle of Italy, and then of course Sicily as well, which has a few hills, and Mount Etna, I guess, which you could drive up if you wanted to. Just as we speak, by the way, Antonis Paranopoulos is able to get underway. These guys have been halted for quite a while because of the length of the climb. They have to be halted for a little bit longer, and that's the reason basically why we have only 2 heats today. It's because 3 heats would just take far too long for everybody really. So just the 2 it is tonight, and it's the best one that counts only. Not adding up or averaging it out. Just the best 2. The best one. The best climb will win out here today. There's some very big gaps even between cars in the same class because of the 17.3 kilometre distance that these guys have got to travel. There's Karate in the Norma. It's statistically much worse than the SLA, but if you like, as Karate just gets up the bankside and into the barriers, I'm afraid. And up the bankside again. It's a difficult one to get right. And as I mentioned, the Norma statistically worse than the SLA in every way, actually. And I guess if you prefer the Norma to drive, then you might be able to make it work, but Sebastian Renault's been making this car work from the very start of the season, really. Would have had a bit of a problem with Ludovic Farou, who was pounding him early on, won on the Col Saint-Pierre at the start of the year, but on the second round of the season, the Rashberg had that spin, one of the hairpins up towards the top of that mountain, and that was it, I'm afraid. He never returned to the championship again, after losing out not only on second place that day to Ronat, but third as well. So he took his leave at that point. Over 2 minutes being left between Antonis Paranopoulos and Tobias Bashadorf in this order at the moment. Actually, on now nearly 2 minutes left between those two. So we are going to get a long look at each of these guys. And a lot of time to consider. Oh, who's going well? That wasn't going too well. This cars are going uphill very steeply, but not quite that steeply as he just got onto the grassy bank on the right hand side. And there are the two protagonists side by side. Oh my goodness me, Karate in a very precarious situation, and he's gone back to the garages. Francois Karate with no time, first of all. So it's all riding on the second heat here for the Swiss driver in the Norma. He's going to have to get it right if he wants to be classified at the end of this event. Bastien Malin comes over the line and kicks us off for this timing, and while it's going to take Paranopoulos a good 6 minutes to come over the line, we're going to squeeze in a commercial break right now, because otherwise we're going to miss all of the times. So we'll be back in a couple of moments time with the first of the E1 plus 2000 cars coming over the line.
The 2021 virtual Trento Bondone Hill Climb is presented in partnership with Viper Gaming by Patriot, Elite Gaming, ESTV, and Motorvision.tv.
A 1v2 for the tournament. Pressure is on.
Racing for Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for New Forest. Racing for Green.
Welcome back to the Trento Bondone in Italy, where the ninth round of the European Hill Climb Championship is happening, broadcasted by TTR24H. We've had the first time in from Sebastian Rollin, and we're about to have the first times for E1 plus 2000 in here. Antonis Paranopoulos is going to be first. ahead of Tobias Bashadorf, who actually went faster than him by 2.6 seconds in the first sector. Paranopoulos has now completed the second. Bashadorf just over a minute away from doing the same. Agius Andre, we're waiting for his first sector time. It will be coming in about 40 seconds, and here he is. Takeaways for some of the more flowing hairpins of the selection. That's his first time. I'm afraid it's 6 seconds down on Bashadorf. Challenging him so well throughout the first part of the season. Andre is struggling in the second half ever since that DNF in the Czech Republic. On the Eke Omo Sternberg, it was really fallen down for him a little bit. As we go further down, the time gaps between those setting off is getting a little bit smaller. As we have a 9-minute 50.4 for Paranopoulos overall. And Tobias Bashadorf's second sector time is 4/10 slower, so he's still got a 2-second advantage. But it could all fall apart very quickly. Championship on the line here, let's not forget. Not tonight, but any points lost and gained will be crucial. They've got a little bit of time to wait for the German to get to the top. But he's doing so as the leaders in Group H set off for the first time today. Bashadorf has actually won the last 2 events ever since that dramatic day in the Czech Republic where all of the leaders in this championship really just DNF'd and didn't actually make it to the end because all 3 heats counted that day and it was one of the toughest we'd seen all season. So Bashadorf and Andre both retired from that one, allowing Paranopoulos to take a big step forward in the championship with his second win of the season. And now, Bashadorf is turning the tide again, looking for his 3rd win in a row here in Italy. Or his 3rd win in the season in a row. First in Italy, of course. Not very far away from the end now for the championship leader. We'll have an update on Agius Andre's sector times after that, but first the final steep sections for Bashadorf into the small village at the top, the final chicane, shakes through and goes over the line, pulls to a stop, and he'll be very pleased with himself because he's gone half a tenth in front of Antonis Paranopoulos. Half a tenth in front, so Paranopoulos does need to go a bit quicker in the next part to be able to win here today. So Agius Andre, first sector time as we saw was 6 seconds down on Bashadorf. 7/10 down in the second sector. Oh, sorry, that's nearly 2 seconds actually down on Paranopoulos, who's got the fastest through there. George Malis is a little bit off the pace as well here, by the way, in this category. And here he is in the Ford. Then after him it will be Angelopoulos in the Mitsubishi. It's only been Mitsubishi versus Ford for E1 plus 2000 in this season. Here's Angelopoulos. That striking livery. Oh, Andre, mistake. He looked like he was recovering from a mistake there into one of the hairpins. Let's see, here's a replay. We'll try and pick something up and see how it happened. Is he going to have incurred any damage maybe from this? Is it going to make that problem worse as he goes up the hill further? Oh, just gets it wrong and fairly heftily into the barriers there. He's got it wrong on the way in really, and once you're on the grass like that, it's difficult to stop. He was heading straight for the switchback there, I'm afraid. Over 10 minutes for Andre there. He'll be looking to do a lot better in this next round, in this next run coming up. George he just has a bit of a slide here. George Malice is not going to be challenging those front three, you wouldn't imagine, here today. He's broken into the podium places twice. This season, first one was in the first round, and then the attritional race in the Czech Republic was where he got the other one. Half of the field didn't get to the end of that race, of that event. Certainly a challenge for these guys. You get used to seeing the downforce of the E2 3000 cars, but these guys don't have that luxury really. Can be a little bit awkward, some of these corners, where they just shift to the left into a right-hander or vice versa. And if you get it wrong through the left, like Agius Andre did right here, you can end up on the grass on that right-hand side and not able to slow down for the hairpin, which is fast approaching you. That's close to the barriers as well through that right-hander there. And less than a couple of minutes away from the end of Miles' time. Watch the final E1 plus 2000 cars go over the line together. Well, not going over the line together, but they're getting towards the end at the same time. George Maris comes over the line. It was actually slower than Agius Andre, despite Andre's mistakes, or singular mistake that we saw. This is the first driver to be setting off in Group H. Did so just over 5 minutes ago. Andras Roosevelt in the Fiat X19 will be battling today with Mitko Hristov, John Spider and Eric Tatol most likely. Did show himself to a very high standard in qualifying, so looking good for this event, and he's already 6.4 seconds in front in the first sector. Eric Tuttle, after starting here within the first 2 minutes of his run, is back in the garages, so I think he's come unstuck somewhere. Not nice for Eric Tuttle as Scotus Angelopoulos comes over the line a good 10 seconds behind George Maris, I'm afraid, so he's 30 seconds adrift at the front of that class. Ivan Murrow, the first of the E1 2000 cars, about to head off as well. No Javi Rodriguez today, so for the first time since round one, there'll be another driver on the top step. Judge Biden, let's not forget, can actually clinch the title today as well, but he does need to win. At the moment, it doesn't look like Rosseval's going to be allowing him to do that, or indeed Hristov. He was quicker than the latter through the first part of the lap, though, the first part of the climb. 3 seconds down on Rosseval, but as he goes in back to the garage, John Spider has been off somewhere, I'm afraid to say. Along with Eric Tuttle, they're both in the garages now. Well, that is a big development in Group H. Oh dear, well that could be very big in Group H for John Spider not making it to the end of the first of the runs. Rosseval finishes his first, and Christoph gets another sector time, but it's 3 seconds down on Rosseval, I'm afraid. So attrition early on in Group H, a lot of it. Here is Hristov. The yellow and black Opel Kadett GT. Is turning out to be a very challenging climb indeed. All things considered, and it looks like it on paper, really. Being on board with Hristov as he gets towards the end of his lap. In the top right hand side of the screen as well, you can see the Group E1 2000 cars on the lower slopes of the Bondone, which is known more locally. Part of chicane for Christoph. 16 seconds down on Rosseval, I'm afraid. That's disappointing compared to his qualifying. Only 3 E1 2000 cars on the order here today. And the final of those 3 just about to set off now. Jose Barrasso just leaves the start now. As Morrow has just completed his first sector in about 90 seconds, we'll see where Alvarez is in comparison to him. But Morrow, just to give you a bit of background, this man has 2 podiums already. He's got, for the first time, a chance at the win here. Going back to Alvarez. Who I don't believe has made an appearance yet this season. At least that's what the driver's standings are telling me. The Fiat Punto and Jose Barrasso, is definitely a newcomer. But they're all in arrears to Javi Rodriguez. Could well be champion by the end of this. It looks like he's going to be, with Nick Koksakadis and David Chachev not scoring any points, and they need to. Although saying that, Rodriguez is not scoring any himself, so I don't think he's actually going to clinch it in the end, but we'll see. Olive Tan also gets ready to start a lap. Alvarez, well, we're waiting for his first sector time, but waiting a bit longer than might have hoped, I think. He's a good 30 seconds behind schedule now. Clearly been some kind of problem that we didn't pick up here, because 40 seconds have passed since Ivan Morrow's time. And there finally, it wasn't quite registering very quickly, so it's just under 20 seconds behind, but that's still a very big margin in E1 2000. Or as I mentioned, with the first chance he's really had to score a win. Been on the podium twice in the Czech Republic and Germany. But having never won. First race since late August, actually. He didn't participate in any during September. So it's been a little while since he took on one of these climbs in competition, but he is doing so now. Oh my word, Pedro Alvarez has had a problem here somewhere. No front bumper on that Fiat Punto at the moment, and it was definitely there before in the shots that we've seen before. So that's going to be hindering him massively. I think that happened even after his first sector time, so yeah, goodness me, he's in a bit of trouble. His lap time certainly will be anyway. Unsure as to where he's picked that bit of damage up, as Barrasso has got a chance to move into second here. And judging by his qualified times, that was an unexpected prospect. He's not too far away from the first sector line here. But we may have to wait a little while for it to actually come through and register. Oh, a little bit of a slide and it bumped into the wall there, but mostly continuing on the straight and narrow. A slightly flatter section for a few moments before you uphill again through these more open hairpins. There it is. You do know that a gradient is very steep when you can actually see the steepness of it, and you can hit Barroso 11 seconds down on Ivan Muro and 7 seconds up on Alvarez, who's going to continue to bleed time. And this is why. Ivan Muro's not far from the end of his run though, I say that. Well, yeah, he is not far from the end. He's nearly 12 minutes in now. We'll see what Muro can do. He just goes over the line there. It's 11, 1 second, 0.9. Oh my goodness. Oh, I thought that was smoke, sorry, it's just a slow-mo. So 11 minutes, 1 second and 9 tenths to make his way to the top of the Trento Bondone there. Alvarez was 32 seconds down in the middle sector because of his damage, but he's just trying to make it to the end here, just so that in case something goes really badly wrong in the third run, he's got something to fall back on. Well, has he? Let's see if he can get round the corners. Just about. No front bumper. Maybe this is how he lost it. Oh no, this is a separate issue here. Once he had lost the bumper, he just locks up and stops for reasons that are not known to me. It's not a good run for Alvarez at all. Expecting to be over a minute down, certainly. The only real hill climb on this one where minutes are coming to play in terms of the gaps between riders. Here's Alvarez trying to make his way up towards the top, scraping most of the barriers along the way, I'm afraid to say. Here he is though, in the final sections. Oh, it's a bit of just making sure he doesn't collide with the wall again. Over the line, and what is the damage? Over a minute. It is indeed over a minute. 1 minute and 4 seconds down. That's terrible news for Pedro Alvarez there, who's got everything riding on the final run now. So of the likes of Francois Corratti, John Spider and Eric Chatton, who weren't able to make it to the top first time around. Now this is the chance really for Josu Barroso to make his mark on this championship. At least get himself into second place in the standing. He was only 11 seconds down in the first sector and 12 in the second, so somewhere about half a minute down would be acceptable from him. Or at least acceptable considering the circumstances, not I guess overall. Might be a little bit disappointed considering, but there we are. Oh, it's off! Olive Tan off the road in the green Opel for a quick spin. And Ludwig Calve, I think, has had to stop as well for some reason. Olive Tan continues on. Oh no, he's stopped again. Is Olive. And he's trying to get back going here again. Oh dear. 2 mistakes within quick succession, and he's got no rear wing there. Which makes the car look quite odd, and it handles even odder, I'm afraid. No need for the handbrake anymore. Let's turn the wheel. And he'll be sliding all over the place. Not in a way that's controllable. Meanwhile, top right hand side of the screen, Alvarez is driving off the road, so all kinds of things going on in the last couple of moments. Alvarez is coming over the line here in a couple of moments though, making his way through the final left-hander and the chicane towards the end. As expected. Makes his way to second. Good 30 seconds quicker than Alvarez that time, but is he going to be able to hold on to that or not? Is the real question. Oh goodness me, look at Olive Tan here. He is all over the place. And it's hard to blame him considering the lack of rear wing that is holding him back at the moment. And there it is again, can't quite make it round the corner. I said earlier that turning circles were going to be a problem, and it's proved to be, I'm afraid, for some of them. I think there's a bit of damage to this car as well. Jose Alvarez in the Simca Rally 3. You might be wondering how these guys are getting so much damage at a climb like this, but in the end, the cliffside and the guardrail is very close indeed, so easy to get into contact with, really, and not in a good way. Nikos Sakinas, who's making his way up the hill at the moment. He's about halfway through his run. Olive Tan is making the way towards the end of his. Patrick Fossey has just set off, by the way. He put in a decent performance 2 weeks ago. Unfortunately, he set off about 6 minutes after Sakinas, so there's a long wait there coming up. I think he wasn't quite ready, or for whatever reason had to halt his depart a little bit. Oh, as Olive Tan is off again. He's right towards the end here. He can see the finish line almost touch it, reach out and touch it, but he finally makes it into Vasson, the rural village at the top of this climb. Makes his way over the line with the worst time of the lot just yet, so disappointment for Olive Tan here in the last few moments. No such issues, to my knowledge, for Jose Alvarez. Now, I think it's just the livery, but it does look like he's missing his bonnet a little bit. I think it's just the black on the green livery there. It's been a clean run from him so far. A driver we haven't mentioned as well, Andres Martin Palmer, is making his way to the top as well. He's very near to the top. Stuck in as a late entry for tonight. Or during the server late anyway. And so that's why he's quite so far down the running order. We'll see if he can surprise us maybe. With a good time. Oh, into the barriers. Oh no, if it was a good time before, it won't be quite the same now. Here's a replay as he's about to finish his time, but just getting it a little bit too wide through this left-hander at the top. It's a long left-hander to finish, and he just overcooked it here. There he is, stopped after the finish, after coming in third. However, he's over a minute down on Roosevelt. 1 minute 19 down. Oh, is because Sakanas is in the barriers as well. I think he's stuck. I think Sakanas is stuck in the barriers there. Can't reverse his way out. Oh dear, oh dear. Now that could be the end for Sakanas here today. As Bernat Arlandis also begins in the Alpine. And then we'll have the first runs complete here. The first heat complete. Jose Alvarez coming towards the end of his run. It's the left-hander that just undertook Palabo we saw not so long ago. And the final chicane. For the line for Alvarez. He goes into third instead, but he's also over a minute down. Oh, almost exactly a minute down actually, but there we are. So with that ending of the time, we now have a very long wait until we have Patrick Fossey and Bernat Arlandis coming over the line, so we're going to take a quick commercial break and then we'll be rounding off Heat 1 when we return, and also beginning the second runs of the Trento Bondone.
The 2021 virtual Trento Bondone Hill Climb is presented in partnership with Viper Gaming by Patriot, Elite Gaming, ESTV, and MotorVision.tv.
A 1v2 for the tournament. Pressure is on.
Racing for Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for New Forest. Racing for Green.
Welcome back to the Trento Bondone. Just 5 rounds to go, including this one of the European Hill Climb Championship for 2021. Broadcasted by GTR 24H. We've got a couple of drivers still to cross the line in Heat 1. Patrick Fossey is the first of them, and Bernard Arlandis is another. And he's been getting a lot of support in the chat, I've got to be honest. People are clearly pleased to see him out here. Fossey in the Opel Kadett GTE, Bernard driving the Alpine. A fantastic looking car, by the way, and that red livery is very nice indeed as well. It's Arlandis' first run out in the championship. And there are the two of them side by side. Out here at the moment. So in terms of the championships, one of them seems to be settled now with E2 3000. Sebastian Renal looks like he's going to be crowned tonight. John Spider, well, Javi Rodriguez is not here, so he's going to struggle to do so as well. But John Spider has a good chance. He didn't set a time on the first time up this climb though, because he clearly had some problem away from our cameras. We look a bit of a slow-mo. It's Fossey trying to get the Opel slowed for the hairpin. Here's Arlandis. What a fantastic looking car this is. A real rally classic, this. The Alpine A110 to give it. I'm not sure if you're supposed to say 110 or 110 there, but anyway. Anyway, I do like this car. Maybe not as probably better looking than the Audi S1, but the Audi S1 definitely more fun to watch with its 770 horsepower and the fantastic sound that its engine makes as well. But it's a shame not to see Philotheus argue on the start sheets a little bit more, but hopefully we'll see him again before the season's close. In 10 weeks' time it'll be early December. 6th of December, about 2 months away. And then they'll be packing up and preparing for 2022. Patrick Fossey makes his way up the hill then, and he's towards the end of his run now. But I'm afraid to say, he's already approaching a minute and a half down on the leaders of Group H. Here's the final chicane coming up in this camera angle now. Make sure he doesn't go too fast into it. He did have a fast entry there, but he's made it through. And up to 4th in the category. He was just over a minute down on the leader there, Andres Rosabal, and Jose Alvarez only 3 seconds in front of him, so there's a chance there, definitely. There's a definite chance. That's to watch a little bit later on, but our Landis is our main focus now, though. He's making his way up towards the top. The first of 2 times today in this event. Here we are on board with him, watching him at work. Very simplistic dashboard compared to what we see these days of modern cars, and certainly a place for that. Oh, got to be careful there. These awkward corners where they kind of double back on themselves really do lend themselves to quite hefty crashes, really. And that one as well. The cliff face to the right hand side there was scary. Landis is just trying to navigate his way up the hill here without too many problems. It's getting a little bit more irregular now with the hairpins, and that'll be a relief because it means he's towards the top. Oh my word, that was close to the wall. Well, the barriers, I guess I should say. Here he is in the final few turns, and he's just about going to make it hit by the looks of things. There's the line. Our Landis completes. And it's 5th place. A minute and a half down on the leader, but just 15 seconds behind the next car, so there's chances to improve there. 18 entries today, and 15 managed to get a lap time in there. Francois Corratti, John Spider and Eric Tattel didn't. As we look at some highlights from what we've just seen. This was from qualifying. This is Agius Andre, also from qualifying, I believe, anyway. Having a few problems. It wasn't Agius Andre's best run, I have to say. He finds himself 11 seconds down on Baschendorf right now. And this in qualifying was the engine blow-up for Roosevelt, who could go no further. The race director got into position and we got underway for Heat 1 with Sebastian Renat starting, soon to be crowned European Hill Climb champion. And it was a crazy onboard, a very enjoyable onboard though to watch as he applied his trade up the mountain. Francois Corratti didn't have such luck, I'm afraid. He did get going, but as we're going to see in the not too distant future, he did come unstuck. As he got caught up in a very strange position, I have to say. We cut to the incident as it was unfolding, and it's still not clear to me really quite how he managed to get there, but we'll find out shortly, I'm sure. At the moment, we're just enjoying the onboard of Sebastian Renat a little bit further. It was scary at times. Most of these corners are slow speed, but there are some higher speed sections, especially when you've got the downforce here to use. It turns into a high speed section. This is the corner that Corratti came unstuck at, but obviously he was taking a little bit of a while to get there. This was his first problem, actually. A bit of a problem on the bank there. And getting going again was a struggle too. Renat was still impressing us with his skills, but wasn't shying away from the mistakes himself. Did get caught up on the bank once as well. This is Paranopoulos coming over the line. Not a bad run from him, but he was half a tenth down on Bashadov, I'm afraid, so he will have to go quicker in this run. Sebastian Renat is at the starting gate though. He's just about to begin and kick us off for the second round of times. And there he goes. For the final time, he will be going up the Trento Bondone hill climb. And he'll be crowning himself as champion at the end of it as well. He did a 9 minutes 8 second .6 run last time out. Is he going to be able to improve upon that or not? If he were to be able to clinch this, by the way, it will be his 7th win in a row. Only not winning the first event on the Col Pierre. That'll be the longest winning streak of anybody apart from Chris Bennett, but I guess you can't really count that, and he won't even be getting a win here today because he's not here. So there we are. He'll be equaling Chris Bennett's total of 7 consecutive wins, and that'll be the most Bennett will get all year. Corratti also gets ready to go, just under 3 minutes behind Renat, and he begins now. And then the real interesting category will get underway. Such an important run coming up for Antonis Paranopoulos. It's the difference between being 34 points behind going into the next event and only 20 points behind is massive with 4 to go. You see there, Renat trying to use a bit of a strategy to open out these corners a little bit and make himself get a better run off of them so he doesn't get caught up on the outside with the turning circle, but when they come one after another so quickly, as they do in the middle, And indeed there's these quick sections all throughout, but does make things very difficult on these turning circles, which are not large at all. They're not like a car at home, for example. And here he is doing just that. A bit of slow motion. Looks like it's going to be another win for the Acela as well. As long as Francois Coratti doesn't pull anything out the bag late on. You may well do, you never know. Here is Coratti, who does need to complete this particular run for it to count, or for him to be classified in this event. Paranopoulos has set off 2 minutes behind him here today. There's Bashadov setting off. One of the most important runs of the year. Oh, that was a mistake from Renat, just slightly getting it wrong. It's not like these E2 3000 cars are actually using the handbrakes here because they're just not suited to it. But it's got to be tempting. It's not the right cars for it, really. It's the downforce is supposed to carry them through, even if there's not much being created at these hairpins. Sandre also gets ready for a big run. If he could pull something out the bag, that would shake things up as well. But I think it's increasingly unlikely from someone who hasn't won for 3 rounds now. He went back to back. We're now very close to the end here. See if he can improve on that 9-minute 8.6 that he did in the first run. I don't think it'll matter anyway, but just to really put it out of reach of Francois Coratti and make sure that the 7th win in a row is going to be his. I don't think this run is going to be any quicker for him, as Tomasz Bashadov needs it to be quicker than his previous, because Paranopoulos may well do the same. We'll get the sector times in a few moments when they pop through. Let's run out. Once again, Agius Andre will not be getting to the end of this one. He's got a time on the board, so it's okay, but he DNFs, I'm afraid, from E2. And that could well confirm him in third place again. Especially if Pashadorf wins this one, then Andre's going to be a long way adrift, even if not. It's still a fair amount for him to be closing here. Agius Andre not having a good time of things at all, I'm afraid to say. Francois Corratti near the end as well. 2 minutes behind Sebastian Renat anyway, who's particularly in the town of Vasson now, in the village, I should say, with the ski resorts and so on and so forth are on this mountain. Oh, that was wide and into the barriers as well. Oh, and I think Sebastian Renat's got some heavy damage there. He's lost his rear wing. This is not going to be a better lap time, I'm afraid to say. And he spins over the line. It was actually better. Goodness gracious. 5 seconds quicker. It just shows the amount of time that you can actually make up on one of these. And how much you can actually end up losing. Now Tobias Pashadorf in the first sector has done 3.4 seconds better off than Paranopoulos. A very promising start for the championship leader. But it could all fall apart very quickly, and we did see last time out that Mitsubishi was very strong in the first part. The Ford Escort clawed it back throughout the rest of it. I'm afraid Corratti just making that small mistake there as well. But it would be a big surprise to see him getting anywhere near Runner. Here's Pashadorf trying his best to retain this championship lead. Second sector times are going to be coming in soon. Is it going to be good news for Paranopoulos or not? Be an impressive third win in a row for Pashadorf if he can do it. So let's see. Oh, Corratti made a mistake towards the end. I think he's maybe just recovering, but here he is towards the line. Let's see if there are any surprises. We doubt it, but we'll see anyway. Over the line goes Francois Corratti. He's nearly a minute down, in fact, so Sebastian Renat confirms himself. 7 wins in a row. Complete domination from the Frenchman. And indeed, in E2 SCSS 3000, he is the 2021 European Hill Climb Champion. Round with 4 races to go still. We're still a good way from crowning E1 plus 2000 because it's such an open championship still. Antilis Paranopoulos has got the biggest climb of his year, certainly. He's in a big fight with Tobias Pashadorf for this title. He slides his way around to these final few hairpins to try everything. He's pushing right on the limit here. Got a long left-hander that he's just completed in the final chicane to go. What is this time going to be? It's better. It is better from Paranopoulos. A 9-minute 48.681. At the moment, he would be winning this hill climb, but Tobias Bajinov has got the right of reply and he's got a chance to go quicker himself. He needs a 1.7 second improvement on his lap time that he did in Heat 1. And we know that the Mitsubishi is not as good, not as strong in the second half of this climb. It's certainly better out the blocks. We saw Bajinov going 3.5 seconds, 3.4 seconds quicker in the first sector, but losing some of that time in the second as he held on to enough to be able to take this. He's pushing very, very hard as well. You can see the commitment from both of these guys. Absolutely top notch from both. It's the final section. Bajinov can't afford any mistakes. He can't afford to leave anything on the table here. Through the final chicane he goes. Oh, it's a little bit wide, but over the line it might be enough. Over the line, and Tobias Bajinov does it. It's the third win in a row for the German. And another step forward towards this championship, which he is now claiming as his own. 34 points is now the championship lead, as Tobias Bajinov takes another win in E1 plus 2000. Everyone else must be wondering what on earth they have to do to beat this man. They'll be trying again in a couple of weeks' time, of course. So after that excitement, we're going to take a quick commercial break because we've got Group H and E1 2000 still to sort out, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a couple of moments.
The 2021 virtual Trento Bondone Hill Climb is presented in partnership with Viper Gaming by Patriot, Elite Gaming, ESTV, and MotorVision.tv.
Racing for Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for New Forest. Racing for Green.
A 1v2 for the tournament. Pressure is on.